welcome.
Thank you.
It's lovely to see you. Last time I saw you, we were getting excited for this record.
Mm-hmm.
You were teasing it a little bit. It was kind of that announcement phase, what's coming up next. And it's finally nearly here.
Yes,
By the time this interview comes out, it'll be in people's hands.
Yeah.
What are the weeks and months leading up to a release look like for you?
Lots of moving parts, you know what I mean? With Black Star, it was different because I didn't turn the album in, and then it was like we kind of started to plan everything. So we're finishing the album in tandem with like doing all the Black Star streams, in tandem with Coachella. And that was fun because I got to see people respond to the music in real time. So I could go back and make changes or adjustments based on that. So it's been really cool, and it's been really interesting this time around, where it's felt like a much more free environment to experiment and to like allow fans to experience the record too, even before it's out, and allow them to kind of respond to it. So yeah, it's been good. And I think this is the most fun that I've had in the weeks or months leading up to releasing an album. So I'm excited.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think this is the most fun?
I think because the music is fun, but also I think that I'm seasoned now enough to the point where I don't worry too much about things having to be absolutely perfect before I give it to the world, you know? Like with the visuals, for instance, we went to Ghana and we shot the visuals. We shot 5 videos in 3 days? Yeah, we shot 5 visuals in 3 days. No one should shoot 5 music videos in 3 days. But as it's happening, I'm like, you know what? Let's roll with the punches. If we need to pivot, let's pivot. I wasn't stuck on this absolutely has to look or feel this way, or otherwise we can't move forward. And I found so much freedom and light and excitement in that kind of flexibility, you know, and I like that. I wasn't so attached to something where if it didn't happen the way that I envisioned, it upset me. I was just like, okay, well, how can we flip this into a new opportunity? And there's a real freedom and a fun in that.
Yeah. You mentioned taking it home to film these visuals.
Yes.
What does that do to your work, being able to do it at home?
I think, well, for me, I'm Ghanaian. I'm from Ghana. These aren't the first set of visuals that I've ever shot in Ghana, but these are the first set of visuals that I've shot when I'm in a certain position career-wise. And so for me, what it did was just reestablishing my connection to home, but also coming back to it from a stronger creative standpoint, which I think was the most meaningful thing to me. But for fans, or for even people that are just finding out about me or getting to know me, I want them to understand where I'm from, and I want them to take in this album grounded in that environment. And I think that will help them take in the music, but also take in who I am. You know what I mean? And it's far beyond just about being creative or about being cool or about being cutting edge. It's about being myself. Yeah. And the first point of contact or source for that is my home, you know?
Do you feel like the longer you're away from home, the more inspired by it you are, if that makes sense?
Yes. Absolutely. I think so. Yes, absolutely. I think that's a really remarkable thing to say. I had never thought about that, but now that you've mentioned it, because I mean, I live here now in Los Angeles, and maybe in the last 2 to 3 years, I go home once a year for 2 weeks. And I've noticed that now that I'm away from home, I crave it more and I want to be connected to it more, you know. And it's not just through even physically being there, but through food, through seeing my family often, through going to places and being able to interact with other people from where I'm from or from the diaspora. So absolutely, I think that the longer and the farther away that you are, the more that you see the value in your roots.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously very different worlds, but coming from New Zealand, that's how I felt. I moved here 8 years ago, and I didn't appreciate it properly until I left. I knew how amazing the country was, obviously, but then when you leave, you start missing the small things.
Absolutely.
You know, I've listened to the album.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got a link.
I didn't know that was, period.
I got
T.
a link. My first thought was, and this will be out by the time the album is.
And you can say, like, if you hate it, I actually won't take it personal.
My jaw was on the floor.
Cool.
When I saw the Naomi Campbell picture.
Oh, right. Yeah.
My jaw was on the floor.
Shout out to the GOATs, the greatest supermodel of all time.
How does one finesse something like this?
I actually had to ask God, how did I finesse it too? I'm not even going to lie. One of my managers, Matthew, is really great friends with Naomi. So SMO comes out and he sends it to her like, yo, you should just check this out. So probably like a week later, I'm chilling and I get a follow from Naomi Campbell. I'm like, wait a second, what's going on? So I send the screenshot to Matthew. He's like, yeah, I just told her about you. She wants to get on a phone call with you. She loves you. I'm like, awesome. So we're playing phone tag maybe for like 4 days. I finally get Naomi Campbell on the phone. She's like, I love you. What do you need from me? I'm like, well, I have this record. I think you would be dope on it. She's like, absolutely. And she was like, I was just telling Mick Jagger about you and he says he knows who you are. I was like, what the? Literally. She's like, I was showing Mick Jagger SMO. I was like,
that sentence is insane.
Nuts.
I'm getting excited hearing it for you. Like,
I was like,
crazy.
Holy shit. Yeah. So, one thing led to another. She agreed to do a session in London, and this was like right before she was gonna go walk the Balenciaga final show. She was doing Chanel, and this was the next day. And she comes in, she's on her bodyguard's back. Like her bodyguard piggybacks her into the room, and she's like, I just pulled a sciatic nerve, but I had to come. I was like, you didn't have, we would have come to you. Like, she's like, no, I really wanted to get this done for you. In an hour, she's in, she's out. I text her the next day. I'm like, thank you so much. She's like, I absolutely love you. Anything you need me to do, anything you want me on, I'm down. And I don't know, like for me, that meant the world because I really was, like a 5 to 10 to 15 to 20. You know what I'm saying? Like Naomi Campbell has been a staple in every single part of my life. So for me to have worked hard enough to get to the point where it's full circle, where the woman that is the Black Star, is a part of something that I'm doing, to me was such a huge testament. We talked about the history of her being a supermodel and just being a cultural icon. And, the parts that she did on the album, we wrote it just around her being a cultural icon and like just all of the different things that she's done that have impacted culture. So absolutely, I can name 50 Naomi Campbell moments,
What does this album feel like a celebration of to you?
Identity, without a doubt. And also I think being and becoming a woman who's fully confident in who they are and where they want to go next and how they're going to get there.
You can see that, and it's reflected in the work.
Oh, period.
My favourite song that I heard out of the sampler was Girly Pop.
Okay.
I just thought...
Really?
It was just so fun.
Yeah, I know. I love Girly Pop.
I think when I heard it, other than Naomi Campbell, Jordan for a moment, my takeaway from listening to the 8 or so songs was, sounds like you're having a blast.
Yes.
Like, it just sounded like, and it was reflective in the music, how much fun you were having in the studio. Was that the case? Have you always been like that, or did this album feel a bit different?
Once again, I think with this album, in comparison to past albums, I wasn't in a hurry to really prove anything besides the fact that I really just wanted to have a good time. So we started the album in Miami, in the middle of me doing like performances, but also in the middle of me going to like the club with Janelle Monáe, the strip club with Janelle Monáe and like Kalela, you know what I mean? And also going to Brazil and being in São Paulo and meeting the community there and partying while we're recording the album. There's producers, writers, artists that are all coming to the house, just cool girls that are a part of the scene, DJs, and they're coming and they're throwing parties in the crib. So for me, I think that the music is just reflective of interesting and fun things that I was doing at that time. But also I really was like, I want to keep it as simple as possible. You know what I mean? And I want to be as clear and direct in my communication through the music as possible. Like, I think with my last album, Fountain Baby, it was very like prose heavy and very verbose. And I think the storytelling was, I wouldn't say deeper, but just layered in a different way. And with this, I didn't want to mince my words. Like, I say what I mean, and I'm having fun doing it.
Yeah. You mentioned Fountain Baby. Last record was praised
Yeah.
to no end. 2023, Pitchfork called it one of the best albums of the year. So Rolling Stone, The New Yorker, and it was Metacritic's #1 album of 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I mean, no. I was like, I was shocked, but
it's great, you know, like when accolades like that come flying your way, what does it do to you as an artist? What does it do to you as a human? And what does it do to an ego? And what does it do in terms of where you want to go next?
I think for me as an artist, I think what it does is it validates the work, at the very least, that I've put into the music. I think for me as a human, it feels good to know that something I put into the world is appreciated. I think for my ego, there's a level of a bit of pressure of, well, now when I put the next thing out, am I trying to impress critics, or am I trying to impress myself, or am I trying to impress fans? And going into this album, Black Star, I didn't think about the critical acclaim of Fountain Baby at all. And not to say that I didn't appreciate it or respect it. I did. I think that it took my career and the way that people saw me to a whole different level. But at the same time, I was like, all right, cool, that's done. Great, let's go have some fun. You know what I mean? And so I was excited, and, you know, I think it's, once again, it's just a testament to saying I put in this amount of work and I can see that work come to fruition. But then with Black Star, I was like, I want to be rooted in who I am from top to bottom, and I want to have a good time doing it.
Did your collaborators change at all, or are you with the same crew of producers, writers?
So I stayed with my main exec producer, Q Steed, who I've worked on everything with, and Mesu, who I've written most of my records with as well. So those were the two core components. And then we kind of went out into the world and we collaborated with like Benny X, who did SMO, a young man named Mafalda Decaps, who worked on Girly Pop, El Guincho, who worked on one of my favorite songs on the album, She Is My Drug. There were a lot of people that kind of like came into the fold, but I liked it because it was a very concentrated effort where myself and Q and Mesu would go into a room and we would be like, all right, this is the song, this is the sound, this is what we want to do, this is how we're going to get there, this is what we like about you, what are the ideas that you bring to the table, and then we kind of just like move forward from there. But it was a very small team this time around, just me, Mesu, Q at the helm of the DNA of the record.
Yeah. And the reason I ask was because, like, you know, when success comes one's way, and, you know, as mentioned, the last records were so highly acclaimed, I just feel like people would be throwing themselves to work at you. What is it about sticking with those OGs then that you feel is so important?
Chemistry, loyalty, respect, understanding, and also those are the two people, you know, that are open to new ideas and also want to collaborate with other people. And I think that's important, that people aren't selfish and are like, no, this is mine and you can't go anywhere. So for me, it's just one of my favorite artists, Janet Jackson, has worked with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis for the entirety of her career. And so even as she's evolved, there's still a DNA and a sound. And I think that if you're lucky enough to build a sonic world for decades and decades and decades that people love, that people come to, why, like, you know, what's the thing that they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know what I mean? So, but I think that one of the genius things about Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, and Janet Jackson as a trio, they've also evolved and evolved and evolved and evolved with the times. And I think that, through Black Star, you can see the evolution from my first album, TAYDK, same collaborators, to Fountain Baby, same collaborators, to Black Star. There is a constant evolution.
I think that was a great comparison. Janet, same producers. Control is so different.
To Rhythm Nation, to Janet, to Velvet Room. Exactly.
Yeah, they were always ahead of it. 10 steps ahead, it seems.
Oh, absolutely.
In this age group that we're both in your late 20s, early 30s, people go through so many changes.
Absolutely.
Right? Life is moving at such a fast pace, but I can imagine for you, with everything else going on in your professional life, it would be moving at a 50 million times quicker pace. I'm curious, when you listen back to your previous stuff, do you hear, obviously, yes, musical growth, but personal, through lyrics, through what you're saying, through the stories you want to tell?
1,000%. I think my music has always been interesting because there's always been like a flirty and fun vibe to it. But when I think about my very first album, TAYDK, it was all fun and games, you know what I mean? And then I think with Black Star, there is a little bit more of an unraveling of my thoughts and opinions, but I think specifically when it comes to the concept of love, you know what I mean? And I definitely think I've seen a maturation happen, but also an acceptance of things that have been and things that will come to be. So, yeah.
The lyrics are very clever. I don't think people talk about how clever your lyrics are.
Thank you.
Lots of wordplay. Really unique, the way that you kind of present your thoughts and ideas. I want to talk about the process. Do you sometimes think of a great line before you even think of a song concept? You come up with a quirky little bit and you're like, this is great, I'm going to build a song around it. You write it in your notes. How does that process work for you?
So I think one of my favorite songs on the album is called B2B. And on Twitter, there's this funny meme of how do I say this in the most appropriate way possible? When it's this girl, right, and she's DJing, but the console is her nether region,
right?
So that's what they say on Twitter. If you're DJing, right, you're DJing. So Mesu and I were in Miami, and I was like, yo, how do I explain this? When you play a show and it's you and another DJ, you guys go B2B, back to back. And I was telling him, I was like, I want to write a song about that, where it's it's an exchange between two people and they're going B2B. So that was kind of how we built the song. So if you listen to the song, it's a double entendre and everything is very underhanded, but there is an opposite message there where you have to dig a little deeper. Between the lines, read between the lines.
It's clever.
Yeah, I thought I really I thought that was fun for me. I really enjoyed that.
Kind of reminds me of the Britney Spears one, F-U-C-K Me.
Yes. All the boys and all the girls. That's my shit. I love Britney.
It's smart. I love Britney. I think it's such a fun way to kind of do something, because you're going to read the title B2B and think back to back, but you're not going to have any idea until you actually listen to the lyrics.
Exactly.
How
which is
important
fun.
are lyrics to you? I feel like lyrics kind of get swept under the rug when the beat's good, when the vocals are fire. I feel like sometimes people don't really pay attention. I don't know why, but how important is it for you that people listen to what you're saying? It's
super important. And so my younger brother, one time he said to me, he was like, oh, I don't listen to your music for lyrics. I just listen to it for vibes. And he's like, are you even really saying anything? And this was maybe 4 years ago. And he made me take lyric writing very seriously, because I was like, imagine people are just listening to you for a vibe. But then I think when you want to kind of go beneath the hood or under the surface, there still should be a message there. I love writing and I love lyrics, but I love to also be smart and to play around and be flirty with the way that I present a topic. Because I think that, one, people can take it at face value and it can mean one thing, or you can go a little bit deeper and it can mean a whole other thing. And that was kind of like something that I built. D'Angelo's Voodoo is one of my favorite albums of all time. And I started listening to it maybe when I was 10, and I just liked the music. But then when I was 15, I started to enjoy the production and the way that it was recorded. When I was 18 and 19, I started to listen to the lyrics. And every year when I go back to that album, I uncover new things that he said. And that's happening because I'm growing up. And as I'm growing up, I'm experiencing life. And I'm like, oh, this is what he meant when he said this, that, and the third. So I feel like I like to leave a bit of that in my lyricism as well.
Yeah, I think the point, like, you definitely discover more about music. Like, it's so layered, it's so textured. There
Absolutely.
are so many elements that, you know, you might hear 2 years down the line and be like, how did I never notice that?
Exactly. Yes,
You know?
exactly.
You know, when I was a kid back home in New Zealand, so far away from Hollywood or, you know, what I wanted to do, I think a lot of my friends kind of thought I was cuckoo, right? Okay, how are you going to get there and do that?
Right, exactly.
What do people back in Ghana think when you said, I'm going to go and be a star?
You know what? I have to give it to at least my classmates. I was voted every year I was voted 2 superlatives: most likely to be famous and funniest girl. So the people I will say my peers did see something in me, to be honest. So I think I was always creative. I always loved music. I always loved art, and I was always very expressive. In school, I was the entertainment prefect. So I was the resident DJ in school. So everything that I did revolved around music. So I think my peers and my teachers saw very early on that, you know, this was something that I was passionate about and had been passionate about for the entirety of my school career. So yeah, I have to say that I was encouraged by my peers, by my teachers, by my mom to pursue it.
Last time I saw you was Coachella. It was earlier this year. Glastonbury, Lollapalooza. It's not a bad run.
Yeah. It's been a good run. I'm excited.
It's like, if you want to play festivals, those are kind of the ones.
Yeah. Those are the ones. Yes.
What do you enjoy about getting up on a stage that isn't yours?
Wow. I think the fact that not everyone that's there actually knows who you are. One thing I love about festivals is that concert goers in that perspective are also there to explore and find new music. And I always think it's interesting for me when I get up on the stage, I'm like, okay, I can make this crowd bigger. And I can see it from the start to the end grow and grow and grow and grow. And that's how I know that I'm giving a show that people are probably, you know, a mile away or whatever, and they're hearing and they're like, oh, what is that? I love the opportunity to prove myself. And I love the opportunity sometimes to work against the odds and bring new fans in. And that's what I've enjoyed about festivals, because I will say for myself, I've seen that happen time and time again, where it'll be a mid-sized audience or even a small audience, and by the time the show is done, the whole place is packed out, and I'm like, okay, cool. I know what I'm doing, you know, and that it feels good. It feels very validating.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like there's a challenge there.
Absolutely. I love the challenge, too.
Yeah. How do you know when you've connected with the crowd? Are you good at reading a crowd? Can you visualize kind of how their energy and their vibe is?
So you want to know something? I'm one step away from legally blind. I'm a -7 without my glasses, so I actually can't see shit. Oh, I can't see nothing. I can't see anything. Sorry. I can't see anything at all when I'm up on the stage. So I don't know how the crowd is feeling, what's happening. I can't see any faces. I lock in so deeply into myself that I'm like, they must be enjoying it. So yeah.
Has that affected your craft in any way, like your art?
It helps with my stage fright and my anxiety. You know what I mean? I feel like if you can't see people, there's a bit of a wall there where you can then really kind of zoom into the character and zoom into what you're trying to communicate versus being worried. Because if you're like paying attention and someone over to the right looks at you like, that can easily throw you off. So I'm so happy. That's one of the very few times where I'm like, thank God I'm blind.
Wow.
Yes.
I didn't know that. That's fascinating. You pull it off really well.
Thank you. Yeah.
Your vocals are so unique to you.
Thank you.
It's, you know when it's one of your tracks. How did you kind of figure out the different ways that you could use your voice?
That's such a good question. So, growing up, my two favorite vocalists were Janet Jackson and Anthony Kiedis, right? And then T-Pain happened, and autotune became a thing. And then Drake happened, and then autotune became an even bigger thing that was used in the landscape of like R&B in a different way. And then Young Thug happened, and that was when a light bulb went off for me, and I was like, oh, there are so many ways to stretch and manipulate and turn a voice around from the inside. And then something like autotune is just like a tool now that's a creative tool to be able to build something more unique within what you can do with your voice. And I have to say, like, that for me started when Young Thug first came out. I was like, I want to kind of sound like that, you know? And so I used that as a building block of like, I like Anthony Kiedis, I like Janet, I like Young Thug, and those are the three voices that I kind of want to find the different ways that they express themselves and their tonations and make it unique to me over time.
Those three great inspirations.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
You know, I think that's a good segue to you blend and bend genres left, right, and center. I mean, it's, how would you describe your sound? What is it?
I don't even know what to call it. I love music, you know, and I love all kinds of music. And for me as a musician, 99.9% of the time, I'm just trying to recreate the feeling that one of my favorite songs has given me. You know, like, so when you hear a song like Girly Pop, it's me trying to make my version of Someone to Call My Lover. You know what I mean? By Janet Jackson.
Maybe that's why I love this so much.
Maybe. Or I'm trying to think of like just other songs that I have that I've had a very direct reference. I'm still trying to figure out how to make my version of Gwen Stefani's Luxurious. Like, I want to make a song that gives me that exact feeling. You know what I mean? Or Got Till It's Gone by Janet Jackson. I want to make a song that gives me that exact feeling. So to be honest, me as an artist, I'm just chasing the dopamine that all of my favorite songs in the entire world have given me. And so I think what then becomes the genre bending is that my influences come from like Billie Holiday, like I Cover the Waterfront, or a Red Hot Chili Peppers, Fly Away on My Zephyr, or Sade. One of my favorite Sade songs is Skin. I love the whole Sade discography. Like, I could go on and on and on about songs that I love that have changed me in a way when I first heard them and how they made me feel. So that's where the genre bending comes in, is because I'm trying to put all of these different influences together to say something new or to tell people about myself.
Luxurious was a great reference there.
Oh, that's one of my favorite songs
Love
of all time.
Baby is
yes.
one of the pop Bible.
No, speak on it.
I don't think people talk about that enough.
I agree.
Everything from the visual, unbelievable. And then following that with The Sweet Escape.
Yeah. You know what's funny? The Sweet Escape has taken me a longer time, but now I'm going back to it and I'm like, wait a second. Gwen was, because I loved Lamb so much. And now I'm like, oh, hold on. I'm re-getting into The Sweet Escape.
Like, wind it up. Like, it's so
No. What?
How do you do that?
I was too young to really clock what she did, but taking and turning that into Wind It Up is pop genius.
Yeah.
Pop genius. Oh man, Gwen Stefani, and even the work that she did in No Doubt. One of my favorite No Doubt albums is what's it called? It's the one where they have it's like black and red and white writing. I can't believe I don't remember the name.
Rocksteady.
Yes, Rocksteady, exactly. That's one of my favorite No Doubt albums, but it's because of like all of the dance hall tinged influences, but also the rain keeps on ending on me. Oh my God. No, but honestly, the Neptunes have done a lot of records. I don't know that they have a record that sounds like that for anybody else. That's a very, very specific sonic template for the Neptunes, because they've done their stuff with NERD that's more rock tinged. They've done their rap stuff. They've done their pop stuff. I haven't heard another Neptunes record that sounds like hella good, and you can tell that it's because it's a marriage between No Doubt and NERD for real, because that bass line,
oh, yeah, it's filthy.
All the synths you can hear, that's Pharrell, that's Chad, but that bass line is so metal and it's so punk, and I'm like, ugh, that's my shit. That's my shit.
Yeah, she's Gwen Stefani, man. There's nothing like it.
Nah, I don't think she gets enough credit though.
I agree. What's it like to kind of know, I mentioned Gwen being my first concert, like what's it like to know that you are going to be someone's first concert, that you are going to be, the connection that you're talking about to Gwen's records, someone is probably going to find within yours, like, not probably, is going to find within yours. Like, what is your relationship with that like?
That's nuts. I don't know, I think about Janet, Madonna, Gwen, Missy, all of these, Britney, and all of these incredible women, right, that have inspired Beyonce, that have inspired me. And I don't know, like, to me, they're deities. Those kind of stars to me felt so untouchable. And even in their music, I didn't think of them as human beings, but like as gods. So I don't know, I'm a human being living in my body as Amaarae, so it's hard for me to think about somebody being so moved by anything that I'm doing that, it would be like transcendental for them, or it would be their first experience or their first concert or their first album that did XYZ for them. That's hard to think of. I don't know, so yeah, I don't know. That's one of the things that I don't know, how I feel about it or what it might mean to someone or what it means to me. I don't know.
I'm sure you get DMs every day from people all over the world telling you how much this song means, how this song's done this to them, how this song is their first this, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. How do you let that kind of, A, not get to your head, but B, kind of like actually sit with you and not just be another message in your DMs?
That's a really good question. I think it's meaningful, but it's hard to grasp the concept of, something that I'm doing because I love so much, having an effect on someone. And that's something that I can't say that I've really sat with enough and been like, wow, there's people that are coming to a concert and this is almost like, not just a safe space, but also it's almost like a church for them. You know what I mean? And not a church in the sense of like I'm God and they're lesser than, but they get to come here and have community. They get to come here and release something, and then they also gain something, and they give me something, and I give them something back. And my father told me when I started making music, he was like, the one thing that you should know is important is that your message and the way that you make people feel should always be on the highest frequency. And my dad didn't want me to make music. So I know that when he said that to me, he really meant it. And so for me, ultimately, I love the fact, I think more than anything, that people always tell me how good, how sexy, how confident my music makes them feel. But I don't think that I've ever really sat with, I don't know if it's a responsibility or just a gift, you know, or a little bit of both. But I don't think I've sat with the weight of that entirely, to be honest, because it's scary and daunting to think about.
Yeah. I'm sure it is. But I'm glad that you're getting the love.
Thank you.
I'm glad that people are receiving and hearing and are being touched by your work.
Thank you.
I cannot wait to see what journey this album takes you on. But thank you.
Thank you as well. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. You're amazing as always.